I really enjoyed it. We had Jimmy Parker on, and Nighthawk come on and talked a little bit. It was pretty awesome. We learned a little bit about some country music, and now we're going to change venue and go another direction in music. But first, I want to remind everybody that we are totally listener supported, and until tomorrow night, we got a special going. Donate $50 and put Silver Rush in it in the little comment box and your address. You'll receive a 1 ounce thing of silver. And if you donate $75, you get a ball cap. And you put ball cap in there and plus your address if you want us to mail it to you. And it's a pretty good deal. Mark, I believe we had an excellent first half show, don't you?
Oh, and hour 2 is going to be great.
Oh, I think hour 2 is going to be great, too.
I think the whole 2 hours tonight just going to be one of our best shows. So I might as well just get right into it. We have surf guitar legend Merrell Fankhauser and his recent collaborator on this secret project. Adam Wagener is going to be with us as well, and we're trying to figure out what's the new project. You know, it's following up on the heels of success of Signals from Malibu. So, Adam and Merle, are you there?
Yes, we are.
Hi, how you doing?
Oh, great. How are you, Adam?
Life's good.
Good.
Merle,
friends with Merle and producing with him. He's a great guy. Good friend to have.
Merle, welcome back, and Adam, it's good to meet you.
Thank you.
Yes, Thomas. Good to be with you guys again.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah. How did you two meet each other? Decide you wanted to collaborate on this new project?
Well, actually, Adam is my current video editor for the Tiki Lounge TV show that's been on about 14 years now. And we met at a TV station around 2007 in Santa Maria, California. And I happened to need an editor, and he's a very talented editor. And we started working together. And then after a few years, he's also an actor. He moved to Hollywood to do some acting jobs, and we still get together every month. He comes up with from Hollywood to help me shoot the show, besides edit it. And he started playing me some of his songs, and I was impressed with the songs.
Can I add to that?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it was real exciting. I think the very, very first time I saw you, my dad had told me you were performing live at a venue on the coast here, and I came out to see you. And then, yes, of course, we met at the TV studio. And then while we were in the middle of editing Tiki Lounge one day, I think I mentioned it to you that I work on music of my own, and we listened to it, and Merle gave me some important feedback, and said one day as I was leaving the studio, maybe sometime we can jam or work on something. And I didn't really think about it until I got back to L.A., and I thought, you know what? I'm going to show Merle this demo that I made. And so I made a video, sent it to him. He said, let's work on that next time you come up here. And that song became Welcome to California. So.
Okay. And Merle, you just had your 100th episode of Tiki Lounge.
Yeah, that's already been aired, and we went on to show 101 is showing now, and this Saturday we just shot show number 102, and we had a drummer, Patrick Wellington from Maui, who's played with Bruce Springsteen and the Benoit Jazz Works, Tom Scott. he's played with tons of people, so that was fun. We put the whole band together with him playing drums, and Adam and I are going to start editing that on Wednesday. So that'll be the show for November, the Tiki Lounge show.
Okay, cool.
And you can see 100 and 101 on YouTube. You just go there and type in Merrell Fankhauser, followed by Tiki Lounge, and you can put either number 100 or number 101, and they'll come up.
Okay, Merrell, earlier this spring, you were doing a little book signing tour. You did, you've been playing some dates over the summer. Let's see what. Let's see what else. What else have you been doing? And you've also been corresponding with Colonel Churchward's great-grandson.
Yes, I was very excited about that, Jack Churchward, and we've exchanged a few emails, and he wants me to be involved in Facebook discussions about the lost continent of Mu that he's involved in. And, he took his great-grandfather's work and even explained it a little more, and he has a book out defining Mu, the lost continent, and some of his great-grandfather's theories. So we're planning next time he comes to California, I'm going to get him here in the Tiki Lounge and interview him. And because I told him one of my bands, the band Mu, took their name after we found Colonel Churchward's book in 1969, and that influenced us to call the band Mu, and it influenced us to move to the island of Maui, where I did a lot of exploration. So I told Jack Churchward that I'm kind of in a busy time right now, and when I get past that, I'd love to join on these Facebook discussions about the lost continent.
Okay, so that might be about episode 106 or so.
Hard to say, Mark. Yeah, somewhere down the line. I mean, things just spontaneously happen, and it's hard to flag when something's gonna happen. It just all of a sudden happens.
Well, I hope he makes it out and you get to do an interview with him for Tiki Lounge.
Yeah.
That sounds like a lot of fun. So,
sounds like a guest we need.
Yes, yeah, Jack would be a great guest. He's been on a few, I think he's been on Coast to Coast before.
Okay, cool. What's the name of his updated book?
Oh gosh, something about explaining. It's in my closet. I'd have to walk down the hall and get it. I don't remember the exact title, but it's a great book, okay. And it caused me to reread an old book that a Hawaiian wrote about the ancient religions of pre-Hawaii, and called Children of the Rainbow, which had a lot of the same information that Jack Churchward had in there.
Okay, since we're on the Mu topic, maybe start getting into one of your earlier songs, kind of set the stage for your and Adam's song. So I was thinking maybe we can get into
I could play a song about Mu that we wrote that was inspired by that book. It was called Mumbela Bei Tula, and I am playing slide guitar on that also.
Okay,
and
that's fine.
It was even translated from a Swahili chant, some of the words.
Okay. Yeah, sure. If you want to play that, that's fine, and we can get into. Adam could discuss his song after yours, and just keep.
Okay, so here I'll hand the phone to Adam. He can just talk to you for a minute, and then I'll let you know. I'll walk in the studio and turn on Mumbella.
Sunset, all yellow streaming down. Ooh, she cried in the sunset, all yellow streaming down. She accepted the evil like a goddess would a crown, wearing the dress of peace, her moss-woven gown. Ooh, she cried in the sunset, all yellow streaming down. Ooh, she cried in the sunset, all yellow streaming down. She accepted the ether like a goddess would a crown, wearing the dress of peace, her moss-woven gown. Oh, Muame, we love you in return. Muame, we'll love and then we'll learn.
That's Mumbella Bay Tula by the band Moo.
Beautiful.
When was that done?
What?
When was that recorded?
That was recorded in 1970, and the album came out in 1971.
Wow.
And it talks about the sinking of Mu that was actually in a Swahili chant, and Colonel James Churchward had that translated somehow. So I took part of the translation, and Omuame was like talking about the heyday of Mu, when it was really, at its height of development. And then it talks about the sinking of the continent.
And what CD is it on?
That's on the Moo CD. You can get it actually Sundazed, put out a double CD of it. It's just called Moo, and it has like a Mayan Indian figure on the cover holding a Moo symbol. And then the original album, it came out on Era Records, first label that put out the Beach Boys. came out in 1971 on an LP on that label. And that was a single album, but Sundays put out the double album. People can also get the double CD direct from me by going to merrellfankhauser.com.
Sounded great. Do you know who that reminded me of?
Yeah.
Remember John Denver?
Yeah, I remember.
A little bit of like John Denver feel.
You kidding?
It was really. I thought it was a great song. Amazing.
Yeah, that was a little more avant-garde than John Denver, but interesting. John Denver and I have the exact same birth date.
Oh, okay.
Kind of reminded me of
Year
Garfield
and
too.
month and everything.
Oh, fascinating.
So, Adam, what when you're working on a song and a lead or something like that, and what's it like to be able to turn to a guitar legend like Merrell and say, I just can't get the chords right for this lead. What would you recommend?
Wow. What's it like? I mean, I've known Merrell, I guess for almost 10 years now. It's almost like being able to turn to a friend and say, hey, what should I do with this? And thankfully, on Welcome to California, I think Merrell just gave me a few suggestions of boosting the tempo a few beats per minute and singing it a little higher register. And when we got into a studio and I was able to use his professional instruments and his professional setup, Merrell let me do what I thought was best, and then he added some bass, and we had Art Dugal to help us on drums, and Merrell spent hours and hours, going through it and making sure it all sounded good. So, I mean, it's an honor in a way, and in a way it's also kind of like just turning to a friend and saying, hey, what should I do with this?
Okay. Well, should we get into, we got a sample of Merrell doing a slide guitar quite a few years ago. Do you want to do Welcome to California now?
Sure, that sounds good.
Okay, well, you get that queued up, and
I played the slide guitar part on that also, besides bass.
And the bass, yeah.
And I sang a real high, almost like you can hear it at the beginning choruses, in the middle, and the end. I sang a high falsetto kind of a Beach Boys high harmony on the choruses.
And if you listen to the lyrics, the song's really kind of about, what it's like coming to California, especially for people that move out here from far away and maybe they're doing the Hollywood thing and they want to hit it big in the movies, and just kind of how that goes, and how for the story for a large amount of people is just really not fulfilling those dreams is what it really is. It's kind of meant to be a sad song, but when we put it all together, it comes out kind of peppy and upbeat.
And the other thing, Mark and Thomas, to me, I could relate it to people going to Hollywood to try to make it in the music business too, because that's equally as hard as trying to make it as an actor. And it's kind of the story about the hoops you have to jump through, and what you have to do to try to get in and get the doors opened. And I played this for two big producers, including William E. McEwen, that discovered Steve Martin. And he really liked the song, and he said, oh, man, that line in there, welcome to the talent grinder, is so true. And when Adam came up with that line, I heard that, too, because it's true. It's like they, just take people that are talented and run them through a grinder, and some of them, make it, and some of them don't, and they leave L.A., depressed with their tail between their legs.
Very true.
But we've gotten this song on 32 radio stations now in just 2 weeks since it came out, and this morning we found out it's on the big station in New Jersey that covers part of New York, WFMU, and that's a very important station to get played on. And
Yes.
we're on the playlist, so we're
Welcome to California. I hope somebody warned you. It's not all glitz and glamour, so be ready with the answers. And welcome to California. Now go home. Welcome to Hollywood. Yeah, it's not your home. Some of us were born here, and we like to keep our way clear. So welcome to California, now go home. Welcome to the talent grinder. Luck's a lady and I hope you find her. Running late for another audition, and you feel like you failed your mission. And welcome to California, now go home. Welcome to Hollywood, yeah, it's not your home. Some of us were born here, and we like to keep our way there. Welcome to California, now go home. So many come and go. Some leave fast and some leave slow. Hang on, baby, you'll do great. Just keep going, namaste. It comes to me as no surprise. No one wants to leave the sunny skies. Welcome to California, now go home. Welcome to California, now go
off state, and I enjoyed it a lot. I
Yeah.
think it's pretty awesome, and it's kind of talented, or there's, you know what I mean? It's
catchy.
talented, yeah, and it's catchy.
Adam, our first hour guest, is talking about the competition in Nashville. Yeah, I think that's probably the one of the themes of this show would be Nashville or Hollywood. Can be place where you make it big, or you get ground up in the competition. It's a real challenge. But how do you, as a younger artist getting involved in it, how much of a challenge is it?
I'm so flattered you say younger. I'm actually in my mid-30s, but I got some actually really good stuff to share with you here. I was musical at a young age. Real quick, my dad put me on piano when I was 5. I was getting piano lessons, which I kind of hated. I had the teacher that would slap your wrists on a regular basis, but it gave me a good ear for music, and then I would get creative. As a kid, I would record onto a cassette little songs from my grandparents. And as in my teens, I turned on MTV for the first time. I saw Guns N' Roses playing, and I wanted to pick up my dad's guitar, so I started practicing on my dad's guitar and taught myself a little bit. And then when I was in college, I took some music classes. But then to answer your question, moving to Hollywood, I kind of had a variety of interests with the acting and then with music. And as a side job, I became a rideshare driver for one of these new taxi companies, and I met Drake, the rap and R&B artist Drake. He was one of my customers, and I asked him, I was like, hey man, I'm an aspiring musician. What should I do? And the best piece of advice he gave me, which I would pass on to any other musician, is it's just so simple. It's just don't stop believing in yourself. And Drake explained to me briefly how he had made an album, his first album by himself. Nobody took notice, but by the time he made his second album, he was turning some heads, and now virtually everybody knows who that guy is. But anyhow, it's a real blessing to have Merrell as a friend. And when I'm down there, I'm reshaping my entire bedroom. I'm padding the walls and looking into valuable microphones that I could be using to make my demos. And one of my goals is to make my demos sound so nice and clean. Merrell can say, "Hey, this sounds great. We hardly have any work to do here." That's kind of what I'm aspiring to do here as we work on an album together.
That's a good dream he has, and I keep telling him it's okay for demos, but he's not going to compete with the equipment that I have that's, over $50,000 worth. And I think to help Adam answer this question, it's so hard for a new artist to break through now. It's not like it was when I was young, when you could walk into a record company with your demo on the Sunset Strip and say, "Oh, is there somebody in the A&R department that can listen to this?"
Oh, yeah.
And sometimes they could. Well, as you guys probably know, in the modern age here, the big conglomerate record companies have swallowed up a lot of the smaller independent labels. So it makes it very hard to get into these record companies unless you have a producer with a track record or an attorney that's worked with these record labels. And just the fact that I've got, a track record and people listen to me, there are some labels that I can get him into, but there really isn't any formula, that you can say, "Oh, this is what you do," and you'll get a record company to listen to you. And I just tell all these young bands, I've helped several people, and I've helped some get deals. The first thing is try to make a record that's at least 3 minutes and 30 seconds or less, and make it commercially radio friendly, and you got to please the company first. But if they hear something that's a hit, then they will show some interest. And now they've got all of these TV shows like The Voice and American Idol, and some of those people go on to do things, and some of them don't.
So it's like 1 out of 10,000, though, all the people applying for that show just to get on the stage. Like 1 out of 10,000, and then to get pictured like 1 out of 100,000.
So it's not easy, Mark and Thomas, to get a record deal these days. And the labels I'm on, I talk to them about it, and they go, "Oh my God, it takes so much money and so much to get it broke through." And I'm lucky because I have over 300 radio stations just in the United States that play me pretty regularly and play my new releases. So what I've done is I've targeted some of those stations that I think would play Adam's song, and we're sending it out to them in hopes, that we'll get enough airplay and we'll get on more playlists and charts, and we can take that to a record company and say, "Look at here, we got it going already."
Awesome.
Adam brings a satiric look at the entertainment industry. Adam, does that come from your interest in doing comedy?
I've done a little bit. I mean, I dabbled in stand-up comedy. Nobody would recognize me from that, except my close friends. It's interesting you said that too. I actually talked to a comedian, Kurt Braunholer, who's been on a lot of programs. He's on a Netflix show. He said to make it big, even in comedy, comedians should be putting in at least 10 years. He thinks at least 10 years before, you get recognized and start getting some big offers. And I'm thinking, wow, as a musician, I'm really fortunate that, Merrell took an interest here, and that we were able to collaborate on this, and that, I'm close enough. I can drive up from LA and visit him on the coast. And it's kind of an exciting time, too, because we were talking the other day, and I told Merrell, man, it's like all of a sudden all these tunes are pouring out of me, these chord progressions I never thought of before. I got to write this stuff down. Like I'm waking up in the middle of the night, and I better either audio record this on my little tape recorder or write down what's in my brain before I go to sleep, or it won't come back to me for a couple of weeks. But that's all. That kind of like in a way tells me it's meant to be, and that we're gonna hopefully put out some real. I really believe we're gonna put out some great material as we collaborate over the next few weeks and months.
Now, is that song a single, or is it part of an album?
Right now, it's a single.
Yeah, it's a single, Thomas. We're like I said, we've got it on over 30 stations now, and then this big station in New Jersey that covers New York just started playing it. So we're constantly, I am working the radio stations to play it more and get it on more stations.
And the fact that we're able to test the waters too by mailing like an MP3 with a quick note and an email, and then say, would you like a CD if you're really serious? And they say, yeah, we want a CD. The fact that we can test the waters like that is amazing, because you look at other avenues, whether it's acting and you're mailing them the DVD of your acting chops, that stuff just goes in the trash all the time. Even people that are hired by the executives, the assistants that are supposed to screen that stuff, don't even have time to look at it all. So the fact that Merrell's, a friend and able to, have his name on this is a big deal. So I'm really thankful for that.
Okay.
So when we're mailing something off, we know it's going to get looked at or listened to. You know what I mean?
So there's, as another aspect of getting involved in the entertainment industry is using social media a lot more. The Facebook presence or websites is part of the package deal now.
Yeah, I think people kind of expect it. I mean, if they're interested in you and they want your website, but if you give it out to someone, they're probably not going to look at it unless they're asking you for it.
Yeah, our next step is to make a really well-produced video of the song. And William McEwen, the great movie producer, gave us a great idea. He said we ought to get some old black and white footage of Hollywood and cars on the streets in Hollywood in the 40s and 50s, and then in the middle go into modern times, and that's where it goes into color and show what Hollywood was like then and now, with Adam singing, dissolving in, and the band that played on it. And then we're going to put that on YouTube and put it on Facebook. And there's actually some labels that I know that I can send that video to. And I don't know if you guys know this, but Justin Bieber got his record deal by singing songs with his acoustic guitar and sending them to every producer and record label that he could get an email for. And somebody heard him and liked him and said, let's go in the studio and do a master recording of that. Well, we've already got a master for the first song that we've recorded, because I've got two of the best producers in the business, Joe Klein being one and William McEwen, saying, gee, sounds like you guys cut a pop hit, so work it.
That means a lot, actually.
And that's what we're doing. We're working on it. And today was a monumental day, like I said, knowing that it's playing on WFMU that has a possible listener audience of 1 million people. And then being on this show with you guys tonight this is the first interview Adam and I have done on a radio show.
Yeah, thank you.
Wow, now that's cool. Who was the first one you played your message from Malibu on, too?
Yeah, that's right. You
and the sound itself.
Yeah, that's on, I think last count, a couple hundred stations. The other interesting thing, Thomas and Mark, is that Adam's song is being played in Poland, and Friday night it was played on a station in London. So he's getting play already in Europe, because those guys have played me a lot. And we did what Adam said. We sent him an MP3 and said, would you play this? And they said, yeah, send us a CD. So we did. and it's on the air. And I did the same thing with a disc jockey in Cape Town, South Africa, that plays me regularly. And I said, would you play this? And he said, yeah. So we've sent him a CD also. And the internet helped so much now. I mean, back in the 60s, you know, when Uni Records, for instance, was putting out 45s on my band, the HMS Bounty, you know, they'd send out 900 45s, and that was an expensive deal even back then.
I hope the carrier pigeon didn't get lost either.
to make all of those 45s and then send them out, and you're not really going to know if they're playing it till the promo man made a follow-up call and said, oh, did you get Things by Merrell Fankhauser and HMS Bounty, and are you playing it? So, you know, a lot more time and effort, and, you know, now you can do things so much faster with the internet.
Adam, since Merle just brought up William McEwen and, you know, discovering Steve Martin, it was someone like Steve Martin or Robin Williams an inspiration to you?
Actually, yeah. I did grow up watching a lot of TV and watching a lot of Steve Martin movies, like The Jerk. Big one, right? And it's
he hates those cans.
You know, social media. I just got an email from Steve Martin because I follow him on Twitter. I mean, you know, a general email for the fans, but it said, hey, watch our new music video. He's playing music in an elevator, playing the banjo in an elevator with a bunch of friends. And I'm like, wow, like Steve Martin's still going at it, which tells me, you know, just never stop making.
He won a Grammy doing music, and William McEwen's brother, John McEwen, who was in the Nitty Gritty band, taught Steve Martin to play the banjo, and they went to high school together. And John brought Steve home to meet Bill, his older brother, and said, Bill, listen to this guy. He's really funny. And he was doing balloon tricks at Disneyland at that time. And Bill decided to produce movies on him. And the rest is history.
And you know what means so much to younger artists like me? I mean, my mom knew I was going to L.A. to, you know, try to conquer Hollywood or whatever, and she bought me Steve Martin's book called Born Standing Up. I read his whole book, and then, you know, now I've just finished reading Calling from a Star, Merle's book. And you know what I love is you see these candid moments where they're going back in life and saying, when I was this old, I did this. I'm like, wow, just the transparency means so much, because when you're aspiring, sometimes you see these people and you just assume they're flawless. You know, they have a great performance, like, oh my gosh, I could never do that. But you learn, you know, they have the same problems everyone else does, or they have the same, you know, whatever is going on in their life. And so to see that transparency really helps out a lot too when you're studying, you know, reading autobiographies and things like that.
Speaking of the old days and, you know, struggling, I was reading Merle's book, Calling from a Star, that was first public performance. He did Poor Little Fool and Elvis's Blue Suede Shoes for $12.
Yeah.
That's true. At a movie theater that's still here and still open on the Central Coast, the Fair Oaks Theater, and I was hired in the theater as a cleanup boy and an usher, and the manager of the theater just heard me practicing my guitar on a break after I was cleaning up after a matinee, and he says, hey, you sound pretty good and you sing really good. How'd you like to get up between the matinees and sing a few songs? And that's before I even played with a band or anything, and I started doing that, and I did that for, oh gosh, a year or so. And I said, okay, I'm going to get this $12. Does that mean I still get my $40 a week for cleaning out the theater? And he said, yeah. And I went, oh my God, I'm going to be making $62 a week? And that was 1959, I think, or 60, somewhere in there. So that was pretty good.
And you had also mastered the ukulele by that point, right? Or
yeah, that was my first instrument when I was 11.
Okay.
Yeah, you got to start somewhere, Mark.
Yeah, I didn't have any training for this other than Thomas said, "Hey, I didn't get the publisher never sent me a copy of the book. I hope you read it because I don't know anything about it." So it's
he had no clue.
Yeah, it's either there's no show or just go from behind the scenes to being live. So yeah, just I have to follow your advice. You got to start somewhere. So it's been a fun 4 years working with Thomas, but things like that happen and works out great.
That's great. Well, you've sure helped me. You've booked me on a lot of different radio shows, Mark, and I really appreciate that.
Oh, I've really enjoyed the opportunity of.
Likes to share a good guest.
They've all gone really well, except for when the signals crashed. Ken Hudnall's show that was interesting.
That's fascinating.
Yeah, and did I tell you guys that that's happened 3 times now, and it's at the same part in Messages from the Dome where that high-pitched radio signal that they believe came from this underwater anomaly off the coast of Malibu, California. And I was on in England, and it was a lady host named Joanne, and we were near the end of the show. There was 10 minutes left, and she said, well, now we're going to play Merrell's Messages from the Dome from the Signals from Malibu album. And and when I got about 3/4 of the way through, this real high-pitched, what they believe is an alien radio signal, came out, and all of a sudden, I didn't hear anything. It went blank, and the engineer from the control room got on the phone and said, we don't know what's happened, but her whole board went dead. Her microphone won't work. Everything shut down. And what I found out is that it happens, it seems, only on digital mixing boards. It doesn't affect analog boards. And they emailed me about 4 days later and said they had to have the team of techs come in because whatever happened, it erased all of the settings and presets in this digital board, and they had to reprogram.
Fascinating.
So I don't know what it is, but it's happened 3 times. It happened with a station up here in Sacramento.
When I first met Merrell, I wasn't a believer in UFOs, but now I'm starting to think, I'm starting to wonder.
Yeah, the one on Ken's show was interesting. But
Were you listening that night, Mark, when that happened?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. You heard that happen then.
You know, it's interesting. One of my instrumental songs, I don't know if I played it for you yet, Merrell, but I actually called the song Alien, and I wrote it several years ago. Anyhow.
So have we played that on your show, Thomas? Have we?
Yeah, I have that on the server.
And you've played it before over the air, and it didn't bother you?
No, well, because we uploaded it to the server when you came on that time.
Okay.
That was quite a long time ago, too, wasn't it?
And I think Ken was actually playing it from the CD, and so was the station in England and the one in Sacramento. They were
you sent me them, too, and I had Hawk upload them to the server back then.
Okay. Yeah, they still want me to go down to Malibu and spend the evening there with some infrared cameras because, they still keep seeing lights coming in and out of the ocean, they say. And we want to try to get some of that on video. And
you can stay at my place downtown. We'll drive there in an hour.
Yeah.
Downtown LA.
Adam, are you planning on developing a whole CD and going on tour, or what are your plans?
I wouldn't quite be ready for a tour yet until I get some bandmates together, and I have been going to a few open mics in Los Angeles and looking for people to jam with. On that note, there is a really great open mic for anyone listening in the LA area. I go to the music store on Sunset called Sam Ash Music. Wednesdays I typically play there with their open mics, and they reward you with a $10 gift card every week. So, buy some new strings or something. But if I can find some bandmates, maybe at these open mics around LA, then yeah, the touring wouldn't be out of the question. It's a possibility.
Yeah, I think we have 4 or 5 minutes left. Adam, do you have a website or Facebook page or something where people could?
Yeah, sure. The Facebook would be fine. I'm actually redoing my personal website, but facebook.com/therealadamj, ADAMJAY. So //therealadamj, and someone can follow me on there, or if they're in the music business, send me a friend request.
Yeah, we'd also like any DJs that want to get a copy of Welcome to California, request a copy, and we'll get it sent out to them. And we're starting to work on the second song in the studio tomorrow. So we are working on an album.
And I'm working on changing my stage name back to my given name. So if they look me up on Facebook, you can find me. I'm in Merrell's friend as well. So, but I might say Adam J. Nicholas or AJ Nicholas, but we're going back to Adam Wagener. So.
Okay. And Merrell, your son Tim's birthday's coming up.
Yeah, at the end of this month is Tim Fankhauser. He calls himself Sonny Tim. And I've been working on, for a few years now, actually, on a solo album for him. And hopefully next year sometime that'll come out.
Okay. Does he have? Does Tim, just record with you, or is he doing his own band?
Well, he's played with me, for years.
Mm-hmm.
And he played in the Fankhauser Cassidy band with Ed Cassidy from Spirit, and with me and Cass and a group of musicians. And I've produced all of his recordings so far. And we have an unfinished, maybe half or a little more of an album in the can right now. And he used to live here on the Central Coast, but, 10 or 11 years ago, he moved to Medford, Oregon. And so he's up there now, and he plays, in a few bars and things just with pickup musicians, but when he does something serious, he comes down here and we'll do a concert together every once in a while, or we'll work on one of his recordings. But hopefully by next year, we're going to have that album finished.
Okay, so Signals from Malibu still playing. Your autobiography is available, and
it's gone over 4,000 copies now. I'm really happy about that.
Okay, and you're working on completing a CD with Tim. So, do you have any show dates lined up
with Tim?
Or just you or Tim?
No, Tim and I don't have anything lined up right now, and I've been concentrating on right now putting a lot of energy into Adam's recordings, and so I'm curtailing some of my gigs, and we just shot the TV show the other day, which kind of exhausted us all. It was a big undertaking, so we're gonna work on that.
That's the end of the show. I hope y'all enjoyed it, and remember, we're totally listener supported. Thanks for joining us tonight.